For 1.5 centuries, Swan Hunter shipyard launched over 1,500 giants onto the world's oceans. The yard shook with sounds that were a soundtrack to Tyneside life. In 2006, they seemed to be threatened again with silence. Yet on May the 1st, there was an event of the most extraordinary kind. Legendary pop duo Pet Shop Boys, leading orchestra Northern Sinfonia, and a classic Soviet film united to create a new soundtrack for the yard. Pop icons for over 20 years, Pet Shop Boys have much to celebrate. 37 top 40 hits and 20 million records sold worldwide. Tyneside-born Neil Tennant and Chris Lowe from Blackpool have always challenged pop's boundaries, reaching beyond the superficial and the predictable. Outside the pop charts, they've explored other musical avenues. In 2003, Tennant and Lowe were asked by the director of London's Institute of Contemporary Art, the ICA, to write a new soundtrack for the Soviet classical movie The Battleship Potemkin. This tale of Russian sailors and civilians making a stand against tyranny was directed by Sergei Eisenstein and has enthralled cinema lovers for over 80 years. Pet Shop Boys added a new dimension by performing their new score live with an orchestra as the film was projected in Trafalgar Square in front of 25,000 people. 2 years later, Pet Shop Boys are on site at Swan Hunter Yard to announce it as the new stage for this spectacular screening, which was actually composed not too far away.
It was written up here, actually. I have a house in County Durham in the countryside, and we have a little studio. Actually, we have a portable studio we can put where you like, and sometimes we take it up here. And in fact, we wrote it in 2 halves up there, so it was all actually written up here. And it was an interesting process because we watched the film a lot of times and made notes, and then we sort of started at the beginning and just worked our way through. And it was, you know, we've never done anything like this before. We've written a musical, but that's a very different kind of medium. So it was a real challenge.
Collaborating with orchestrator Torsten Rasch and the Dresdner Sinfoniker, Tennant and Lowe's new score for the Battleship Potemkin made big waves on CD and in spectacular concerts in Germany and London. Now it is announced that on May the 1st, 2006, at Swan Hunter shipyard, it will be the Northeast's turn.
It seems to resonate with the film. The film's Battleship Potemkin, and this is a place where they renovate battleships, where they probably built battleships. And also it just shows a different side of the Northeast. I think we thought it wouldn't happen.
But it is happening, thanks to the London Potemkin organiser throwing down a challenge to members of Newcastle's oldest society, the Literary and Philosophical Society.
He said, look, the biggest cultural event in the UK was the Potemkin performance in Trafalgar Square. Why don't you think on this scale? Why don't you think of this particular event? After all, Neil Tennant is a local boy, he's a Tynesider. So we chewed the fat afterwards with various people, and we said, right, we'll see what we can do.
And what they did was to approach Newcastle Gateshead Initiative, the body responsible for promoting the area worldwide.
They thought we might not have a location quite as stunning. They were quite wrong, of course, because here we are at Swan Hunter shipyard, historic location, and possibly the most exciting venue for a rock concert in the entire country. So, astonishing location, astonishing film. I mean, if you've seen Eisenstein or if you haven't, the images in that, you know, remain in the mind for a long time. With music especially commissioned for it, I mean, it will be astonishing.
Newcastle is a very fine city, and I think what they've done is really attracting people to come to Newcastle Gateshead now, because there's a lot to do here, and it's an exciting place now.
I've noticed in the time I've been coming here that the explosion of bars and restaurants and culture and everything. I mean, it's a completely different place to when I first came here.
Pet Shop Boys will be accompanied by the Northeast's leading chamber orchestra, Northern Sinfonia, housed at the Sage Gateshead. Please do note.
We do some very intimate projects in Hall 2, which might have just half a dozen or so musicians. We do some very large-scale projects like this. I mean, this will be a large string section for Battleship Potemkin. I don't think it won't be daunting in a musical sense. I mean, it's challenging and it's exciting, but it's not fantastically hard. You have this, very intense rock score. You have a large orchestra projected over, a big speaker system, and there's a kind of physically overwhelming impact that these pieces have. They have them anywhere. I mean, they would have them in the middle of Town Moor. But there will be something about swans when you see all the images of ships unfolding on the screen, and this, heart-stopping stuff about this appalling, mutiny that happened in the boat, and there are a bunch of ships, and there's a river. I think it'll be the most incredibly resonant experience. I really do.
Stylistically, it's a very modern-looking film. He used a combination of actors and real people, and he invented a technique called montage, which is the way the images are edited together to tell the story, which is hugely influential to this day. In terms of subject matter, when we first saw it, or we were about to watch it, I said to Chris, I think this is just a piece of communist propaganda. And then when we watched it, Chris said, no, it's not. It's a very romantic, heroic film about revolution. It sort of represents the ideal of a revolution in some ways.
The man who will bring film, orchestra and Pet Shop Boys together on the day is conductor Jonathan Stockhammer. A veteran of the Trafalgar Square concert, he has flown in with 1 week to go.
Well, they never tell me these kinds of things. I knew it was in Newcastle, and I got a mail from Neil saying our shipyard adventure in several weeks, and so I'm assuming now this is going to be done in a shipyard or somewhere on the water, very similar to the setting of the film. I hope I'm right. I'm going to have an intensive day of rehearsals today, working with the orchestra, and then I have a little bit of free time in between to both enjoy Britain and prepare for my next project beyond that. Then I come back here on the 30th, and we have a day of intense rehearsal, which is partly the marriage of the orchestra element to the film and all the sound system and the balance and whatever technical things need to happen. I get kind of taken into the whole spirit of the film and very gripped. And I found that was the experience of a lot of people that I talked to in the audience, especially people who didn't know the film historically, intellectually, and some people that I had visiting from Vietnam were just absolutely blown away by this. And I think the marriage of music to the film is a real powerful and effective combination.
It's great we've got the Northern Sinfonia, because actually we've got an orchestra twice as big as we had in Trafalgar Square. Trafalgar Square we had 26 people. I think we're having 51 here. So that's also it's a sort of a privilege, to play with a world-class orchestra.
We've done different films from The Snowman, which is a very different kind of film. We do that in kids' concerts here, and I've done various bits of film session. I think we just approach every project that we do with a kind of open mind, and you see how it goes. I think we're all quite excited about putting it all together and seeing what the Pet Shop Boys are doing in their style alongside what they've written for us, so it'll be interesting.
It is a bit daunting, but I found that I'm new to the job, and music tends to fly your way pretty quickly, so you get used to it. The most daunting thing is just working with a lot of the extra musicians, because we're usually a smaller ensemble, but I think it's going to be great. I know it's in a giant shipyard somewhere near Newcastle, and that's pretty much all I know. They've said that it might be cold, so we should dress warm.
While the musical preparations are underway, down at the yard there's still plenty to arrange. under the watchful eye of yard owner Jaap Cruz.
We had a call, and then they explained to us what what they wanted, and we said, well, we're going to help out as much as we can. It's very exciting to have 14,000 people here in the yard. It's unheard of.
But it's not unheard of when you're one of the world's leading live event producers. In charge of transforming the Swan Hunter site, John Farker Smith.
When we were looking to do this with Newcastle Gateshead, we'd looked at Big Market, we'd looked at various other places, we looked at down by the Sage, by the Baltic, by Spillers, and it was actually Neil who said, why don't we go to Swan Hunter? And we kind of went, why don't we go to Swan Hunter? It's a great site, it's a big open space, which is perfect for a large number of people. We then went to all the licensing and the statutory authorities and went into negotiation about what we could do, what we were able to do, how many people we were able to have. And Swan Hunter said yes, they would agree to it, and we've finally got a licence this morning. It's a driving movie without cars.
We have a tremendous achievement in the Northeast in terms of pop stars, rock stars and so forth. And here is one, Neil, who's coming back to put something back into the region and to make the region proud of itself again.
It's always a slightly emotional feeling playing in your home area. You've got your family come down and friends and all the rest of it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Swan Hunter